TG Geeks, episode 165, April 16th, 2018. Amazons, Comics, and Chimeras. Hello and welcome to another webcast from TGGeeks.com.
Very nice.
Where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from mobile TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix/Scottsdale, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from the Phoenix Film Festival.
Yeah.
Yes,
in North Scottsdale.
North Scottsdale, Arizona. So, yeah, but North Scottsdale Film Festival just doesn't sound right.
North Scottsdale, Arizona Film Festival
event thing. Yeah.
Or whatever. All right, we have an interview for you this time, and we're going to get right to it. And this time on the show, we have Mr. Nate Wonderman. He's the Chief Comics Officer of Wonderman Comics. Welcome to the show, Nate.
Hey, guys, and hey to all the listeners. How you doing?
Good. Hey, we wanted to talk to you because we met you at San Diego Comic-Con, or Comic-Con International in San Diego.
Yeah, we want to be professional about this.
We want to be proper about that. Last
or
year,
as one of my writers calls it, Nerdy Gras.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I like that.
Hey, okay. I think I'm going to stick with that one now. I like that.
Yeah, so you were on a panel of independent creators, and so that kind of leads us to you must be an independent creator. Obviously, we know several of your artists that you've had that you have working with you. And tell us about Nate Wonderman, how you got started in the comics business, who you are, and what's going on right now with you.
Okay, certainly. I was born in Brussels, Belgium, and I immigrated with my parents when I was 6 to Los Angeles. I grew up a fan of both bande dessinée, Asterix, Tintin, Gaston Le Gaffe, the Schtroumpfs, the Smurfs, as it's been translated into English, and American comics as well when I was a kid. I grew up after my parents divorced. My mom remarried, and I grew up in a showbiz household. I went to Beverly Hills High. I actually had a couple of classes freshman year with Nicolas Cage, no lie.
Wow.
Nice.
And I then went to LACC where I studied TV production, transferred to USC, graduated eventually. At that point, I got in. The economy wasn't too great, so I took a job offer from my dad, who at that point had got a pretty successful watch business going.
Oh,
and
wow.
I went and worked in the watch business for quite a bit of my adult working life, including 2.5 years in Switzerland.
Wow.
Where I actually got exposed to more of the adult side of bande dessinée, but also saw that American comics were getting in there as well. And eventually I came back and slowly but surely thought up with my first comic. It took about a good 12 years or so where I was working. I was doing it part-time between thinking it up and actually printing a comic book. Yeah. My timing wasn't the best, and online soon came around. And I went and moved it online. It was a weekly webcomic. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, the time came to move that from just doing a weekly webcomic to putting that comic and the other one I had created by then online on the various platforms. And then my comics are now available on 9 different platforms.
Wow.
Including 2 for libraries.
That's great. So,
okay, now here's going to be slightly touchy question. Because this obviously this is very independent what you're doing. I mean, you're outside of the mainstream. You're like DC and Marvel or even Dark Horse or anything like that.
I'm way down the food chain.
Yeah, way
that's
down.
okay.
No, nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're not exactly high up the food chain on podcasting either. Wow. Okay, like I said, this is a touchy question, but
how do I afford it?
Just basically it, yeah.
How do I afford it? Well, good, sound financial management. I was very lucky when I was working in Switzerland that the dollar was dog food.
Wow.
And I, like I said, I've been very lucky in my business life in terms of where I can afford it. Yes, that is true. Because let me put it this way, and I'm just going to sort of transpose the comics business with the other, because another part of my world is I've coached and played soccer, and I also was an internet footy journalist for a while. Where I covered the LA Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a joke in the American soccer business which asks, how do you become a millionaire owning a soccer team in the United States?
Okay.
All right.
How do you
Start out as a billionaire.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
So the main positive, unless you become really lucky like the guys from Walking Dead, you're not going to make money doing comics. You do this because this is your art.
Right.
And that's how this is how I treat my comics, as my art.
It's the same thing with a podcast. You know, in the 4 years that we've been doing this, do you know how much we've made?
It's probably in the negative territory, I would surmise.
Well, we've actually had income of $12. $2 of it that hasn't been paid because Amazon doesn't pay anything under $10. But yeah, we're definitely in the negative.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's why we still have day jobs.
But we do it because it is our art. If you want to think of it as art.
Yeah, it's our passion.
Right, and I also can still maintain my consultancy business.
Ah,
cool.
In the watch biz.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
That's pretty cool then.
So with the work that you're doing now, what kind of genre, shall I say, are we looking at? I mean, because comics in of itself, I mean, it covers so much ground. I mean, you can have something of a sci-fi level. It can be purely drama. It can be superhero. It can be fantasy. So what are some of the, first, what are some of the things that really kind of float your boat today? And the stuff that you're putting out, what kind of work could people be looking at?
Well, my first two core, which I create, write, and edit, are sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
EI is what I would essentially call, a reviewer called Dr. Doolittle with a military application.
Wow, that made my head hurt.
Sorry?
That so made my head hurt. I mean, wow, what a pairing.
And yeah, so essentially it's humans and higher order mammals who can talk against a plunder gang from outer space, out to plunder the planet. The idea came from, I was an anthropology major at USC, and a lot of our coursework was amongst the Yanomami of Brazil. And one of the problems they have is that bootleg loggers are predating, are plundering their land, and if they resist, the bootleg loggers will go into their villages with machine guns and mow them down.
Oh, my Lord.
And so the idea is, what if this happened to the planet Earth writ large? That's the idea.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a little grim.
Yeah,
no,
but it's fascinating.
Well, not only is it fascinating, I think it's really awesome that you can take a social issue. And I mean, that's the beauty of a lot of science fiction, is that it can really serve as some sort of a metaphor for something that's really that is really going on in the world today. And I love that you were able to do that.
Hey, if Gene Roddenberry can do it, why not me?
Exactly.
Rock and roll. I'm right with you. So that's awesome stuff. What else? What other kind of? Go ahead.
And EI is now, I'm about to unspool issue number 29.
Nice.
And it's an ensemble piece with a fairly large cast of both humans and higher order mammals. A tiger, a bear, dogs, cats, ferrets. It's a whole ensemble piece. It gets very Byzantine, and you also see the aliens that are highly evolved bugs that despise mammals. Think that it's an inferior species.
Why is it always bugs?
Well, bugs are the most successful animals on the planet and can survive a larger variety of environments than mammals can. And if you think about it, bugs have been on this planet for a lot longer time than we have. And if bugs had an intelligence, or maybe they do, who knows? They would think about these damn primate interlopers to our beautiful world. Look what they're doing.
Exactly. Well, they always say that the cockroach will be the one surviving living thing.
Cockroaches can survive in an oil tanker. What does that tell you?
Exactly.
Oh, they can survive ground zero of a nuclear detonation. I mean, I knew a guy who stuck a cockroach in a microwave oven and ran that thing for like 5 minutes, and when he opened the door, the cockroach just walked right out and said, "Hey, how you doing?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and this particular race of bugs are hyper evolved to the point where the only thing where they have no problem genetically engineering themselves.
Oh, that's just
and the only thing they can not yet do is be immortal and transmute living organic and inorganic matter, but most everything else they've conquered.
Wow.
So it's a very and they're being attacked by a criminal gang who are just out to make money, and that's why it's really hard. And because part of the thing I've always sort of found a little bit of my issue with various Earth invasion scenarios in most sci-fi is the idea that the planet Earth would actually merit the attention of an entire civilization. Really, we can't even get out of our own solar system. You think not a chance. But I would think more about, say, a plunder operation or, say, a criminal gang. That would be worth the attention of beings from a civilization that can traverse the galaxies.
Exactly.
My own philosophy about that.
Fascinating idea. So you said you just released issue 29 of this?
29 is about to come out. Right now, I'm just putting it into the various platforms to put it out.
Mm-hmm.
All the usual suspects: Comixology, Kobo, Amazon KDP, you name it. It's all on my website.
So
www.wonderman WUNDERMAN comics.com. Sorry.
So what is the publication schedule for EI?
EI generally goes about. I aim for bi-monthly. Whether I get it or not is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the whole back issue, and right now issue number 32 is being written.
Wow.
Nice.
Cool.
Well,
you have in comics. You have to work ahead. That's just the way it is.
Oh, there's no question about it, because there's definitely a schedule. I mean, we certainly know that. I mean, I think anytime you produce any type of, whether it's a TV series or a radio series or a podcast series, you always have to be thinking several episodes down the road. Otherwise, you're going to just flounder and fall apart.
Well, and then your plotting loses the plot. You have to you really have to have some sort of pretty advanced structure.
Yeah. So you have a connection to somebody that we've talked to before, Mr.
Yes, Hannibal Taboo.
Yeah. What a fascinating chat that was.
Oh, it was beyond fascinating. It was crazy.
But
Yes.
he's
And actually, he's gone and written a couple of comics where that I created or I had the concept of, and he fleshed it out. Because that's another thing. What happens is sometimes you get a little stale and you need some help, or you need to hire good help.
right.
More like it.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
no, he had what was it? Irrational Numbers number
yes.
1 or 2 coming out whenever we talked to him, and it looks like
It's now completely out and available at all your favorite online places.
yeah, it was a fascinating concept. I thought that was interesting. But he's doing a couple of things. You've got a 4-arc issue or story that's coming out for Time Core. Is that right?
Yes. The other thing which I had long wanted to do was, and that he wrote, was, it's called Scoundrel.
Uh-huh.
Actually, issue number 4 of the 4 issue miniseries it's already out on all the other major platforms. It's coming out next Wednesday on Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea behind this is, are you familiar with this series of paintings by William Hogarth called A Rake's Progress?
I'm
No,
Sort of. I've heard of it,
but that's as far out.
and I know there was an opera that was made from those paintings as well. So
Right. And generally, you're talking about something that if you're an art major, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a series of paintings by a British artist that go back about the 1730s, 1740s, about a ne'er-do-well who inherits his parents' money and pisses it away with drink, women, and gambling, and winds up insane in an insane asylum. It's all about the foibles and downfalls that comes with that sort of thing. And I had always wanted to do a remake of that, and I did, where instead this time the protagonist was Hispanic, and it took place in 1980s LA.
wow, that could be fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It most certainly was. And Hannibal wrote it, and we hired this artist named Doug Nation, Dugnation. That's how he gets out that's the way he throws out his handle. He did a great job on the artwork, and it just finished out. I'm really pleased with how it came out, and what I really liked about it is that Irrational Numbers and Scoundrel helps expand out the line. Whereas my first 2, EI and Time Core, were more strictly sci-fi, these 2 went off in different directions and sort of broadened the over of what's available at Wonderman Comics.
Well, it certainly allows to cast a wider net. So if you're looking for an audience, that's definitely the way to do it. So you just touched on something that brought a question to mind. So regarding both EI and Time Core, so obviously you do the writing. What about the artwork? You're not doing that as well, are you?
No, not at all. I can barely draw a stick figure. No. That is where the majority of the money that I put out goes into.
Right.
Is for the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And because that thing is, these days, if you want to do good comics, you've got to hire professionals.
Absolutely. You got to have good artwork.
And that means those who know what the golden mean is, those who know what perspective is, those who can draw hands and eyes, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so
I got to say, sorry?
You have something new coming up that you were talking about. You hired artists that do things. You have something unusual coming up later on today, as of this recording anyway. That
Right, yes. Well, a little while ago, Hannibal pitched to me doing a story arc for Time Core, which I was like, okay, cool. I could use a and I liked the story arc that he presented in Time Corp. I thought, this would be great. Well, why not? And I went back to a prior artist who had worked on Time Corp by the name of Neil Yamamoto. And so I hired him. We made a deal. The thing is, Neil is so old school. He actually still drops off the 11 by 17 artboards.
Good heavens!
Wow.
That later, that my my comic post-production person, Josephine Roberts, who also does a lot of my coloring and lettering for my comics, we're going to have to go into my little office where I have this old this old scan maker, but that has a really large 12 by 18 scan bed.
Right.
And this thing's it's a Microtech scan maker.
Oh, wow.
And then scan it in. It's whereas before, if you do the smaller ones, you have to do it bit by bit, and that's a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah. I have an Epson V750 Pro sitting here on the desk that gets used only when I have to scan something to send off to somebody. Long story how that got acquired, but I understand about the large scanners.
So do most of the artists that you work with, obviously, I would say that most of them work on a digital platform, as opposed
Absolutely. That with most of my, I work with this one artist for a lot of the work. He did the work for Irrational Numbers. He's done the majority of the artwork for EI. His name is Giancarlo Gatacuzzo, and he is in Rome, Italy.
Wow.
And we do everything by email and Dropbox.
Wow.
I would imagine that has got to make the industry in some ways easier, but yet in others maybe more competitive. I'm not sure. I keep thinking there's got to be a downside to that.
It can be, but I will say this: the professionalism. There's a lot of wannabes in the art world. There's a lot of people who want to be comic book artists, but who actually have the combination of the skill of how to draw and render people properly and the professionalism. Those are few and far between.
Right.
They really are.
Everybody can pick up a pencil.
Yes, whether they can produce something with it that makes the cut vaguely on time, that's a whole other story.
Wow,
that's pretty cool. So you have a couple of other things coming up, some other projects, do you?
Yeah, what's...
I've got some stuff in gestation, and then I generally do some other things as well.
Now, I do want to touch on one thing that I thought that kind of caught my attention. I saw this.
Okay.
Apparently, you were, or you are, an executive producer of a short film that is coming out or is out. I guess it is out.
It's out. Yes. I had a big part in it. It's called Taped Up. It showed at the other Venice Film Festival, Venice, CA, and also actually showed last week at the North Hollywood Cinefest.
Oh, cool. So
and this summer it's going to come out on YouTube.
Interesting. So tell us about that.
Where that one was, and this is going to sound a little cheesy, it's going to sound a little Hollywood, is that it was created and written by Nate Noggle, who also happens to be my personal trainer. Yes, I know. Here's the groans. Who was also an actor. He did an episode of CSI New York.
All right.
And he wrote this film about a personal trainer who is obsessed with cassette tapes and finds one of a murder that he thinks that's a murder.
Aha.
That's what happens with it.
Interesting.
A little bit of a thriller then.
Yes, exactly, and just precisely.
So how did you get hooked up with that project?
He's my personal trainer.
Okay, well, there it is then.
He said, "Hey, I'm doing this movie. You want to be part of it?" Sure.
Is that all? Okay.
There's some comic book elements in the movie, and I hooked him up with the comic book elements.
Oh, that's cool. I see. So that was
okay. There it is.
That's how I got the executive producer credit.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So now, clearly, through this conversation, there's no doubt that you've got your fingers in a lot of things going on, especially with, branching out and expanding the Wonder Man comics. If people want to learn more about you, they want to learn more about Wonder Man comics, any social media, any websites, Twitters, Facebooks, anything along those lines. So that if they want to know more about not just what you're producing, but if they want to learn more about you and maybe any projects that you've got going on down the road, how can they do that?
You can visit the Wonderman Comics site, which is WondermanComics.com, which is www.WondermanComics, which is WUNDERMAN comics.com. One word.
Okay.
okay.
And then visit the website. There's also Wonderman Comics at Twitter and Wonderman Comics on Facebook. And spelling.
Yay.
For all
Excellent.
three.
And if people, what are all the different platforms that people can actually find the work? Is it just Wonderman Comics, or are there other places where they can get their...
Wonderman Comics will direct you to the other ones, but let me click on and I will tell you. And because, like I said, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
And let's see here. We are. So Wonderman Comics are available on Drive-Thru Comics, Amazon, KDP, Kobo, Google Play and Books, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Nook, Comixology, Hoopla Digital, and Overdrive for libraries.
Nice.
Wow.
That's a lot of places where your work and or anything Wonderman can be found. That's excellent.
That's pretty cool. You just have to be out there.
Yeah.
And
And you just kind of sort of have to go at it with like, I don't know, sort of like are you guys familiar with the concept of the conqueror worm in biology class?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's something I learned in Bio 101 where the ultimate sort of conqueror is the worm, because if they just cannot be stopped. They just keep going, grind, screw, and that sort of thing. And that's essentially how you get there.
yeah.
And I'm considering adding myself to a few more, but there's about 3 or 4 more other platforms that are more European or outside the United States based that would be interesting to get into as well.
Cool. So that's
So
fascinating.
that's the thing. I would recommend it if anybody would be doing that sort of thing. You're gonna have to be very good at keeping track of stuff. Excel will really help you.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't we know?
Yes, we know well.
Yeah, we know that very well.
We're doing a daily publishing, and I've had to create an Excel spreadsheet of what we have going. So yes, Excel is our friend.
Yes.
Yes, this is not for this application is not for the scatterbrain
Yep.
or
Oh,
the
God, no.
ADHD adult or that sort of thing
Yeah.
at all.
No, it definitely requires lots of organization.
Yeah. So
You
this
have
was.
to really kind of like go at it and keep going. And because I will say, especially when you're doing this sort of thing, there's strong elements of where the learning curve can be a little harsh at certain points.
Yeah. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation with you, Nate, and talking about your history and the people that you work with and all of the things you got going. And you are a busy, busy guy. Well, and we thank you for being on the show with us this time.
Guys, thank you very much for having me. And I didn't want to say it earlier, but I might as well now. You guys know you broke my podcast cherry, right?
Oh, cool.
Did we?
Yay!
Go us!
Go us! Yeah. Well, thank you for being with us, and we're happy to have deflowered you.
Jeez.
so to speak.
That's okay. I opened the door there.
Yeah, you did. Well, thanks a lot, Nate.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, this is Maurice Hines, and you are listening to The Two Gay Geeks.
And here's a few selected birthdays for April 16th through April 22nd, 2016.
Yes?
Where am I? 2018.
Wow, you're time traveling.
Wow. April 16th, Henry Mancini, Charlie Chaplin, and good friend from Technorama podcast, Mr. Technorama, Chuck Tomasi. Happy birthday, Chuck.
Birthday and things.
Yes, birthday and things. April 17th, Sean Bean, Henry Ian Cusick.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. He was starring in Chimera that we saw 3 times this weekend. Also, good friend of ours, Sam Roberts from the old Slice of Sci-Fi days. April 18th, Eric Roberts.
You know that he's Sam Roberts' brother?
Is that right?
It's a fact.
It's a fact, yeah. Thank you. And David Tennant. Is that Sam's brother too?
No, but he is Peter Davidson's son-in-law.
Well, that's true. Also on April 18th, Alexander Rundberg. He is a filmmaker from up north, way north.
Like how far north?
Way north.
Way north.
April 19th, Dick Sargent. And where's my... Oh, I've lost my...
Your twinkle, twinkle, twinkle?
My twinkle, 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 yeah. And also Tim Curry, who's going to be at Phoenix Comic Fest this year. Also Hayden Christensen and Natalie Dessay, opera singer. April 20th, Clint Howard. Tranya. I want some Tranya. In fact, I'm drinking some Tranya right now.
No, you're not.
Well, it's colored the same thing.
Is it?
Is it? It is.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is. Also, April 20th, Andy Serkis and George Takei.
Andy Three-Ring Circus.
Andy Three-Ring Circus.
Well, to be around him is like it.
It
really
is. It is. April 21st,
God,
James.
that was so cheesy.
Yeah, James McAvoy and Tony Danza.
Elton John sang about him.
Exactly.
It's a fact.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza. Also, let's see, April 22nd, Jack Nicholson, John Waters, and Eddie Albert. Green Acres is the place for me. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Cheap Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, brother.
And that's it for the birthdays this time.
What, no Eva Gabor?
Nope.
Hi, this is Holly. You're tuned in to Krypton Radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi.
Go give a listen to our friends over at Krypton Radio. They got lots of stuff going on all the time.
It's like 24/7.
Exactly. And now it's time for a little bit of this.
And a little bit of that.
And a little bit of that. And a little bit of something else.
Yes. Get your finger off that slider.
It's gone.
Okay. Starting off, we got feedback. Interestingly enough, you just heard a little ID from Maurice Hames. And he left us a comment because we ran a little press release about how Chimera was going to be here at the Phoenix Film Festival. And he says, thank you, TG Geeks, for including Chimera on your website and in your podcast. Hey, we're more than happy to do that, Maurice. And he closes by saying, we're looking forward to meeting Ben and Keith at the Phoenix Film Festival, just as we were looking forward to meeting him as well.
Absolutely.
Then moving on, we got a comment from good friend Tracy Kluss. He's writing in regards to the article that Jeannie Koch does for us every Wednesday. She does an old classics newly reviewed film, and this time she did Pillow Talk, the Doris Day Rock Hudson film. And Tracy says, now you're talking Kevin and I's language. We love those Doris Day / Rock Hudson films.
Rick Hudson.
Yeah, Ruck Hudson.
Rick Hudson.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then lastly, I got a comment from Bill Hensley, good friend of Keith's. And this is in regards to Spotlight Sunday, where we did a little spotlight on Dr. Trek himself, Mr. Larry Nemechek. And Bill says, tell him I really enjoy Star Trek Continues. And the next time we see Larry or next time we talk to him, we will be sure to pass that along.
Yeah. And that's it for our comments. And if you want to leave a comment, you can do that. And you can do that on our website at tggeeks.com. At the bottom of each article or each episode, you can leave comments on our Facebook page, on Twitter, or on our YouTube channel. You can also call our listener feedback line at 469-TG-GEEKS. That's 469-844-3357, and we'll play your comment on air. And as always, please play nice.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the two gay geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
I like to think we have a special little second segment here.
Yeah, it's a nice little second segment. It's an interview with some of the folks from Chimera. So since we are here at the Phoenix Film Festival, we've loaded up our studio and installed it into the hotel room. We decided we'd get a hotel room for the last couple of days of Phoenix Film Festival. And here's that interview right now. And this time we have got a real treat for you. We have got...
Is it Tricky Treat?
The Tricky... No.
Oh, sorry, wrong film.
Wrong film.
The wrong time of year.
Yeah, wrong director. Although she is here.
Yes.
We have got Maurice Himes, director, producer,
Writer, producer,
God.
janitor.
Exactly, of the movie Chimera. We also have Erica Irvin, also known as Amazon Eve, who plays Dita Cruz in Chimera. And we have Ms. Patricia Cheeker, our favorite friend.
Hello, TG Geek. So happy to be here in your hometown, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
Especially since you just came in from Boston.
Yeah. Boston.
Boston.
The
They say
weather's
something there called wicked pissa.
Yeah. So we're here because
Uh-huh.
Chimera is at Phoenix Film Festival, and we just screened the first showing of that.
Yes, Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, exactly.
Auspicious day.
Yeah. So tell me, Maurice, what I know that it premiered in Boston at the Boston Film Festival, but what was it like here in Phoenix to see it on Phoenix Film Festival on the first run?
Well, it was fantastic for me in particular because I was able to have, two of my friends, Jim and Wilma, and John Roth, who you also met, all of whom happen to be Phoenix residents. And I have very long ties to this area because when I was first starting out as not young, but as a software entrepreneur, I was
younger man
as a software entrepreneur back then. My first big break was working for Jim here in the Phoenix area.
Wow!
So I have fond memories of coming here
in
2000. we did. I remember not being able to touch the steering wheel of my car.
That's why there's oven mitts in the trunk. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that. Hertz never left me a memo.
Yeah. So good.
So yeah, we were thrilled to be here. Very honored that Phoenix Film Festival selected Chimera to be part of the great festival. And thank you all for coming out and watching it with us today. We're just excited.
Great. How does it feel to be able to actually watch it on the big screen now?
Oh my God, it's so different. I have only watched the film, in the post house in a bigger screen, but most of my time working on the film has been watching it on little monitors.
Wow.
And even for me to watch it on the big screen with the sound system that they have, both Boston had they had a great sound system and screen there. And here in Phoenix, it's a completely different experience. And, I hope more people will be able to watch this film in the way it was intended to be watched.
Right.
On the big screen.
Well, we both commented that it was far more intense on the big screen rather than a
On a
55
monitor.
inch. Yeah.
Or
Even
at
a
home
55,
too.
yeah.
And there's something about sitting in those seats and being focused on the screen as opposed to at home where
The cat's jumping on
the
you.
cat's jumping on you and you stop,
I need to go get
pause.
something to drink.
Exactly. The moment you hit pause,
Exactly.
the tension dissipates. And I'm guilty of that as much as anybody else. But I love going to the theater.
So,
yeah.
And along that same line, Erica, now, people would probably know you best from your tenure with American Horror Story. But now, here you are, you're in a feature film, literally on the big screen. The Amazon Eve is on the big screen. I mean, to say bigger than life is something of an understatement. How did you feel being able to see yourself as this Amazonian brute? Because Dieter, she's a tough cookie.
She's tough.
I wouldn't
She's
want to mess
nasty.
with her. Yeah, I wouldn't. So how did it feel for you? I mean, have you ever seen yourself on a big screen like that before?
Not quite like that before. I Amazon Eve was on American Horror Story. It was a character I created back, and my character goes probably back to when I was 14. But I've always had this archetype female superhero in my mind, and I decided to put it all in one person. And then Amazon Eve went off and did all this modeling in Milan, and I was a wrestler and a martial artist, and got to do a lot of television shows and some commercial work, and I got to be in American Horror Story. And then right after American Horror Story, my next project was with Maurice. I was blessed to read this brilliant script, and I'm going to...
Thank you.
Okay. Do you turn red? How can I make you turn red?
I'm too black to be red.
Yeah, we'll make you turn red. We'll make you turn red.
Well, I'm turning red
His
inside.
hair will just turn more gray.
I'm turning red inside.
I have a background in science. I grew up with a biologist, a research biologist as a father. So when I read words that click on that light bulb going, okay, this is not, check the Naba computer, something like, it's not made up science. There's real science behind this movie. And they did a study at USC that a film or a message that is delivered dramatically has more impact than a documentary.
Right.
And reading this script, playing Dita, it's like, oh my God, it was a challenge because I'm going to have to, I always have to watch my own, as human beings, we watch our malevolence. But in theater and acting, we get to let our malevolence play. So I get to watch what I look like living under the given imaginary circumstance. If I was some, if I'm not holding back and I'm some secret super weapon for a high powered person, it's like, oh boy, I want to do it again. Because the villain has all the fun. There's a lot more moral flexibility.
They usually do, and that's one of the things that I really had the opportunity to observe your, well, for lack of a better term, to watch your body motivations, because there's a lot. It's so much easier to see on a big screen, and clearly there's a darkness behind a lot of what Dita does, just based on the facial expressions that you were coming up with. Any kind of interesting motivations that you were able to draw upon, or was this all just directorial instructions that you were receiving from Maurice?
Well, let me tell you, there were no directorial instructions. My actors were all so good, so professional, and so on top of it. I didn't have the need to give any directorial instructions. I mean, there was a couple of shots which struck me in this big screen version we saw today, where Dieter Gruß is just staring at Quint.
Yeah.
And there's two shots that in the lab where she's just staring at him.
And they're intense.
Oh my God, I was quivering in my seat. She's so good. Just looking.
It was so funny because earlier, before the screening, Keith and I were walking out of the theater and we bumped into Erica. And she's all smiles and laughs and all. And then we go into the screening and we see this. I see this character and I'm like, she scares me.
She scares the shit out of me. Oops, is that one of the words?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We can. What are the seven?
We can bleep that one out.
Beep boop.
We'll bleep
So
that.
when you
Fix
talk,
it
go
in post.
beep boop.
Okay.
We can fix that in
So,
post.
Patricia, what was it like for you to see it on the big screen? I mean, you've been, working with Maurice for months now.
Yes, I saw it twice on the computer, and I loved it from the first time I watched it. I thought his directing was very sophisticated, and when I found out it was his first film and he had never shot a movie before or directed anything, I was super impressed. So I said I have to jump on board on this project and give it my best to bring it out there.
Yeah.
How did it come to your attention?
How?
Yeah, how did this film come to your attention?
It was through Rebecca Smith, for the film festival doctor. She was already working with Maurice, and she said, listen, I have this fantastic sci-fi thriller that you have to watch. Let me know what you think. And I think it took me a while before I got to it because I was busy. And then I saw it. I said, this is totally up my alley of something I want to. So the question is, when I saw it on the big screen, it was a different experience. I already loved the film, and I'm in love even more with the film because I can see the subtleties, and it feels almost like the pace of the film suits better the theatrical experience.
Right.
On the computer, as you were always solicited with emails and other things, so you can lose track a little bit. So it's definitely a film for the theaters, and I hope whoever picks up this film for distribution will understand that and bring it to the cinemas.
That
because
would be lovely.
That's where it belongs first. I mean, anybody can see it. We hope it's everywhere on Netflix or all these platforms for everyone to see. What impressed me also was the acting. I watch a lot of independent films through my line of work as a publicist, and I'm also a filmmaker going to film festivals around the world, and I watch a lot of films at festivals too. And the acting was so precise and subtle. In genre films, especially when there is a lot of gore and visual effects, it tends to be overly played.
Oh, I didn't get that this time.
Oh my God, but in this movie, it's so real. It feels viscerally like there's this dramatic arc building up. And all the actors, from the smaller roles to the lead, they're fantastic. Even the kids who are family members of Maurice and his producer, Jay, you wouldn't tell those kids it was their first experience acting.
No, you don't get that at all. And to go back to some of there is one, I'm not going to say who, but there is a death scene that on the small screen, okay, yeah, it was, wow, okay, yeah, it's, when I watched it today, it was disturbing.
Yeah.
But it's
Sam Peckinpah.
Yes. No, not like that. But what it did for me is that it's a testament to the acting of this one particular individual, and I'm not going to say who because I don't want to spoil it, but it's a tribute to the quality of the acting in this movie. It's just so amazing that you were able to get such fantastic talent to work on this.
And the reviews have come out 5 stars. Incredible film. Like, we have a document with all the quotes, and it's amazing how quickly the reviewers picked it up, and it's gonna build. This is just the beginning of this film. I mean, it's the 3rd film festival that it's been programmed at, and I cannot wait once Maurice gets it distributed by a distributor. And the fans can go see it, you know.
Yeah, what's next in terms of film festivals?
Well, so we are, after Phoenix, we're going to be in London. We're going to be in the Bilbao Festival in Spain. We're also going to be in the New York City Independent Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
So we have those lined up. We may have a few more screenings. We're not planning for a very extended festival run. Our focus is, of course, in trying to find distribution. What we really want to do is find a path to reach the sci-fi, consumers, the people who like this type of film, who I think will appreciate Chimera. And we know they're out there. The trick is for us to be able to get this film in front of them.
Right. So I just wanted to interject something that for those people that have been living under a rock or have never listened to our show before, Patricia Chica is a director of her own horror films and is an incredible director. That's why I asked her what her critique was about this film, and to hear you say to give it high marks is really great, because your work is, you know how we feel about your work.
Thank you very much. I'm
So
very humbled by
it's
that.
very, very high marks there for Maurice as a first-time director. I mean, if I'd seen it and not known that you were a first-time director,
I would not have known.
Nope. No.
Thank you
No.
for saying that.
I
I
would
really
not have guessed.
but it is definitely my first time, and I'm very excited and happy that you liked it.
Overachiever.
Yeah, why not?
And this is his fourth career.
Yeah,
Just,
I know.
It's important
I know.
to mention.
When we talked to him,
And that's why I had to dive into the deep end, because I couldn't start with shorts. I was just running out of time.
There we
There's
go.
no time left.
Exactly. You've got 2 more careers still ahead of you.
No. Hopefully you found a home now. I enjoyed this so much.
Something that you like.
Something that I...
well, I mean,
I've
not
liked
that
all
you
my other
haven't liked
careers.
it.
I've enjoyed everything, but this is special.
Yeah. This is creating art. This is,
It's unique.
Yeah.
There's no other experience like it in the world.
It really is. And we've experienced that too, just being on the periphery of it and talking to people that have created art, you know, whether it's comic books or films, mostly films that we've talked to. And it becomes a passion for people. It really does. So, Erica, you have got some things coming up as well that you're going to be doing. We'll just talk on that, and then we'll ask Maurice what he's got coming up, because it's interesting. But you've got some things on the horizon. Do you want to talk about that? More so than what you did when we talked to you on our podcast originally.
I wanted to tease Maurice a little more.
Oh, well.
And we can get to that, but yes, it's on the horizon, of course. But you were talking about art. We're talking about art here.
Okay.
The art of this project is, well, art is like propaganda for the self. Think of it like sculpture, and editing is very important here. It's like taking away, and fine-tuning it until you take away just enough that it becomes perfect.
Well, sometimes you have to put stuff back in too.
When you put stuff back in, I know that's part of it, but it's like sculpture. You're putting life into it. And there's a lot of self in this movie, and it's a testament to humanities. I'm always amazed that when faced with like nihilism in this story, you are forced to make morally flexible choices. That's what I'm saying. The crosses the line into evil intent, and it goes. It's almost like it's always the temptation, keeping going down and down and down. After this movie, I shot another movie called Falling South. It's currently in the festival. It's a short. It's in the festival circuit. I've been nominated 3 times and awarded a Best Actor award.
Oh, very nice! Yay for you!
Hang on.
Audience in a box.
Sorry.
No!
Wrong sound. Sorry.
There you go. Ring her up.
Or was it supposed to be this one? Do you want the crickets?
There you go.
That's
You've
so
been dying
sad.
to use that one, haven't you?
I know.
Or
You're like Berkeley Rep. You get a budget, you got to use it.
It's got
Don't get me started. There we go.
Well, for whoever is listening this right now, you have to see the 2 gay geeks geeking with their equipment here. I hope they post.
Do we have a video of this? We need a video of this.
I hope you can put the photo of this setup on your website so people can see what's going on in this hotel room.
Maybe the interview itself. I don't know. But
Cue the porn music.
Where are we?
We need that. No!
Wrong one.
Wrong button.
Wrong button.
Oh my word.
Oh, man.
Enough of that.
All right, you wanted to ask what my future projects were. I am working on, we finished that movie, and there's another one called Dead Squad,
Ooh.
which we shot in Bali. And very opposite. Horror, but more comedy. Like dark comedy.
Well, that's very comedy is a very popular subgenre of the horror movement. I mean, we've seen that. In fact, there's nothing.
You know those
more...
screen adaptations? They call them screams.
Yeah. Okay.
The Scream movies.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wasn't that the adaptation of another different genre?
No, you're talking about not the Scream movies.
Not
What
Scream.
are they called?
Scream was the serious one.
Was the serious one.
But
Was it called?
but there were some other.
There were like 8 of them.
Yeah, it was.
The
They're parodies.
spoofs.
Yeah, the parodies.
The spoofs, yeah. There were 8 of them.
Our movie is a parody spoof of a typical 80s zombie genre. And it's right there. It says Zombie Queen. So that's
Zombie
the character.
Queens,
I play
okay.
the Zombie Queen in it.
Oh, cool.
So I get to work
A
with Conan.
terrifying one, I'm sure.
Well, I got to work with Conan Stevens from Game of Thrones. He's another 7-footer. He played the Mountain.
He was
in
the
Game-
Mountain?
He was the Mountain. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
What was it like, working, acting opposite somebody like that?
Well, he's big. He's a presence. So they made him even more of a presence. So I got to I get to wear 4-inch heels. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing because I have no spoilers. But they paired me off with him, and we had a lot of sexy time.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Woo!
So, Maurice, what is in store for you?
I mean,
know
obviously,
that,
you must be thinking about what's the next thing?
since
on
you
the
said this
horizon?
is your new career. So,
Yeah, I mean, I have been working on another script. There's an idea that was stuck in my head, and I've written a draft that I am not happy with, and I'm in the process of rewriting. My concern is that it's another story of science gone awry. I think it's very different from Chimera, but it is still in that space. So I'm debating whether to make that my next project, which is what I want to do. My heart's in that, but my brain's telling me to go find something else.
well, there's nothing wrong with science gone awry. I
No.
mean,
Look at Black Mirror. Black Mirror
Yeah.
is a genre about what the internet is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
Black-
could explore
Black
the
Mirror.
morality. It's an interesting moral
And
study
Amazon
of
had
science
another show.
genre.
I don't know if you guys saw that called Electric Dreams.
Oh yes,
we
we're
watched
familiar
the
with that.
first
Scary movie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now,
And-
there's a Facebook meme, and it has, there's a sign for the nuclear power plant, 1 mile, and the spider farm, 1.5 miles. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? That's right. That's right. So the science gone awry is.
I love that, though.
I do. The advice I've received is that I'm kind of pigeonholing myself, and so I'm not
that's possible.
sure whether I should. But I really like the story that I have, and so.
Well, to the other argument could be follow the passion.
Right, and which is what I want to do. I love science, and I think there's so much to explore that hasn't been explored yet. And I'm not. For me, the original idea is what excites me, and I think my idea for Chimera, my idea for the title that I'm using now is the archetype for my second script. And I think the ideas behind it are unique and unlike anything that I am aware of that has been filmed or written or that I'm aware of. So I'm very excited about it. I want to finish it. I would like to bring it to the screen. And I'm going to try my best to do that.
Great. So I think we've got more interviews coming up because you have other people coming into town. So
our beautiful and talented actress Karishma, who plays Jessie in Chimera, is coming in later tonight, I believe. And so she would love to spend some time with you
Sure,
guys.
would love to be able to talk with
we'd
her.
love to have you back as well. So I think that we have our setup in the hotel. We have a hotel room
That's
just by
fantastic.
the Phoenix Film Festival. So we have everybody in the room as opposed to what we normally do via Skype. So thank you for being on our show this time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Always great talking to you guys.
You too.
The TGGeeks.com.
I love it.
And we have a weekly review of the things that we ran this week. In case you don't look at our website and you just hear our podcast, we have lots of things going on the website every week. And
Absolutely.
I'm going to let you run down the
Yes, starting
the
off
list.
on Monday, in addition to our last episode, which was 164, we ran a little article about the Phoenix Film Festival animated shorts and some of the panels that we got to see on Sunday. And then on Tuesday, there was an article about Rick Wakeman's Return to the Center of the Earth. It was a sort of a little epic sci-fi telling that he did in his grand progressive keyboard stylings. Then on Wednesday, of course, we had the review of Pillow Talk that we talked about a little bit earlier, also from a good friend and contributor, Ro. She gave us a review for the movie You Were Never Really Here.
I thought that was Andrea's review.
Was that Andrea's review?
Yes, that was Andrea's.
Oh, okay. And then I had a review for the horror film Truth or Dare. And then on Thursday, we ran an article for new and returning TV shows for April. And then to close out for Friday, another wonderful episode, installment number 6 of News Sushi, morsels of news from Japan and beyond, from good friend Hamish Downey.
Yeah, and then on Saturday we're doing, what are we doing on Saturday? For our social Saturday. Slipped my mind now.
Is it Samurai?
No, shoot. I can't remember now. And then on Sunday we have another Spotlight Sunday, and we'll let you see that on the website at tggeeks.com. You can see all of those entries, and please come and visit us. We would really appreciate it. As always, we have follow-up items. Check out our calendar on the website. If you have a birthday event or con, film festival, we'll be glad to put it on the calendar. Send us a note, and we'll talk about it in this follow-up section as well. Phoenix Comic Fest, the new name of formerly Phoenix Comic-Con, takes place at the Convention Center in downtown Phoenix, Arizona on May 24th through the 27th, 2018.
The next time Phoenix Comic Fest changes name, it's going to be Symbol.
Yeah, there we go. Formerly known as.
Yeah.
Yes. Arizona Opera has finished its season for the year. However, next season is getting ready to gear up. They have lots of really interesting stuff going on.
It's going to be a good year.
It starts in October. It's going to be incredible. Get your tickets today at azopera.org. Check out the 3rd edition of Podcasting for Dummies, written by T. Morris and Chuck Tomasi, who had his birthday this week, obviously. And go to podcastingfordummies.com, where you can see their companion podcast as well as buy the book and all kinds of other things. And as everybody knows, we're huge supporters of independent creators, as we talked to Nate and also to Maurice about his film. They are independent creators. Whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, etc., please support those independent creators. Buy their stuff, comment on their work, do reviews, say hi to them, get their autograph, buy their work. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did.
That
One of the things that they love feedback.
Absolutely.
So if you see that they're located on any kind of social media platform, and if you like what they're doing, say if it's a writer or an artist, drop them a line. And trust me, they will greatly appreciate it because, yes, the financial support is really nice, but they love good verbal support as well.
Absolutely.
Check out Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter, as well as the Human Arcle on Twitter. They have little paperly issues that they publish every day to every other day. And Doctor Who Talking Who's is the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, and the Human Arcles is the Arcle Times Post-Dispatch News. We give them shout-outs because they republish our content on a regular basis. You can find Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter at Talking Who, and you can find the Human Arcle on Twitter. He's at Arkle, and that is Arkle. And speaking of Arkle, he has a presence on Tumblr with the incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes. These are quotes that he either makes up or he takes from other places, other sources, or God knows where he gets it all. And you can always check that out. That is on Tumblr. We'll have the link for that in our show notes. But as always, please don't do it while you're at work because you don't want to lose your situation. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on their incredible page so that all those incredible people can actually read the incredible content we put. And you can...
It's absolutely incredible.
Is it?
It
No, we're not
is.
going down the road again. And you can find it by going to facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And as always, very, very special thanks to the incredible moderator, the incredible Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, incredible Jeremiah. We want to remind you to occasionally click on our Amazon ads. You can find those at the bottom of each article or each episode, as well as our widgets on the side of the page for people that we want to push their stuff. Please buy some of their work. There's some great books and art and comic books on the widgets on the side of the page, so check them out. And lastly, check us out on iHeartRadio, rate us on iTunes, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and find us in other places. You can find us at Google Play and at Spreaker and at Stitcher and everywhere. So check us out. Thank you very much. Wow, up next time, who knows? We have like 4 interviews to do next weekend. We're going to have to sort through them and figure out which one we're going to do. So check us out every Monday. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail, 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios in remote TG Squared Studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, at the Phoenix Film Festival. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
And scene.
Cheers.